Welcome to this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice. What we're going to do today is go through a sequence of practices and do some short meditations with them. And first is settling, centering, getting grounded, getting out of our heads and into our bodies. Then based on that and our good posture, and I'll work with the posture first, then we're going to do mindfulness practice. And mindfulness is being present to what you're experiencing moment to moment. Mindfulness is both a state of being, which is that presence, but it's also a practice, which is we have an anchor for our mindfulness, and we're going to use our body and our breathing. And when the mind goes off into a daydream, into the past or the future or someplace else, when we realize it, because at some point that daydream pops, we always come back, otherwise we'd be off in a daydream and never come back. So at some point that daydream will pop, and at that moment the practice is remembering what we were doing. So rather than going back into the daydream, getting caught up in thoughts again, we simply say, that was thinking, and now back to body, breathing, presence in the moment. Then after we've done that for a little while, we're going to open up to environmental mindfulness, environmental awareness, and work with our sense perceptions. Based on our openness to the environment and interdependence and connection with others, at the end, then we're going to do some compassion. It's more of a contemplation than a meditation per se. So that's the program for today. And let's get started. Now we do this practice in a sitting posture, very traditional for the last couple thousand years. And that is because when we lie down, we tend to get sleepy. And if we're standing up, we tend to want to move and go somewhere. So it's putting ourselves in neutral is the sitting position. So whatever seat you're on, a cushion on the floor or a chair, first really feel your sit bones pressing into the seat. And notice if the weight is on one side more than the other, and even them out. And let yourself really sink in. Very often we're sitting on a chair, but we're perched, ready to get up and go. So just let the chair support you, let the cushion support you. Sink down, get grounded. Now, for our posture, let's start with our legs. Based on this, where our sit bones are, then if you're sitting on a cushion on the floor, your legs are probably already crossed in front of you. Make sure that the cushion is high enough so that your knees are even with or below your hips. It takes the strain off of your upper legs, your psoas, and your lower back. If you're in a chair, you can have your feet flat on the floor, about hip width apart, and rather than your feet extended out or pulled in, have your shins vertical, perpendicular to the ground, perpendicular to the floor. Now, again, if your knees are higher than your hips because your chair is short or your legs are long, just move your feet towards each other until your ankles cross, and then let your knees widen out so that your knees are below your hips. Okay, there's our base. Legs, sit bones. And for the rest of our torso, we want our spine to be upright but not rigid. And if we have our spine, what does it feel like for our spine to be straight up? Well, you can't really feel that. So tilt a little bit to one side or the other. You can feel tilted right or left and find that centering place. You can even tilt at the hips, forward and back, till you find that centering place, and that's straight up and down. Now, as for our neck and our head, if we sometimes, again, we're ready for the next thing and we have our neck extended straight out. But feel like the back of your neck and the back of your head are an extension of that straight spine, straight up. So that your chin isn't tilted, your head and chin aren't tilted down or up. Tilted down, we get sleepy. Up, we get kind of spaced out. And forward, we're ready for the next thing. So instead, straight line from your tailbone to the back of the top of your head, and then your chin tucks in naturally. As for your torso, we have the spine and the neck and the back of your head straight up, but there's on the front, find that little spot that's the center of your sternum, and let it point just slightly, raise it up and forward, just a tiny bit. What you'll find is, just a quarter of an inch, a couple centimeters, what you find is it opens your chest. You'll see your breathing open up. Your shoulders come back a little bit. You might even feel your shoulder blades pinch a little bit. But we're going to use a little bit of tension, a little bit of energy to raise that up. And there's an uplifted quality that continues on up into our shoulders, our neck, and our head. As for our shoulders, now that they're opened up a little bit, let your upper arms hang straight down from them. And then leave the elbows where they are, but swivel your hands, palm down on top of each thigh, respectively. With your upper arms vertical, you won't be reaching out or pulling back artificially. As for your mouth, sometimes we clench our jaw and our lips are pursed. Just let your jaw relax, but not hang open. So your mouth can be just very slightly open, or your lips very lightly touching. We're going to be breathing in through our nose, unless you have a respiratory condition. And let the air also come out, mainly through our nostrils. But if some comes out through our mouth, that's okay. We're just not going to do that forceful breathe in through your nose and then whew, that's sometimes taught in working with the breathing. This is very natural breathing. You let your body breathe itself. If your mind is on other things or you're engaged in other things and you're not paying attention to your breathing, I promise you, your body has been breathing by itself. You don't need to make sure it happens. So we're more an observer of our breathing than a director or controller. As for your tongue, you can let it just rest in your mouth naturally, or if you're comfortable, you can let it float up so that the front of your tongue is resting gently against your upper palate behind your front teeth. In the tradition, it's said that that lessens the flow of saliva, so you don't have to swallow as often. So you can try that, but if it's complicated, just let your tongue rest naturally however it is. And there's no problem swallowing. This isn't a rigid posture, as I said. It's upright but not rigid. And so if you need to move, if you feel a sharp pain, definitely you're going to want to move. If you have an itch or some other ache that's bothering you, if it really preoccupies your mind, don't just scratch in a reactive way or move in a reactive way. Just think, okay, I need to readjust my posture. I need to scratch that itch. And then do so mindfully and return to your posture. Now, before we begin the settling and centering exercises, afterwards, you can do this with your eyes closed, but afterwards we're going to open our eyes. So you're going to want to move your screen so that you're not looking directly into it. But can look below or to the side. And now gently close your eyes. And let's fully inhabit our body. We're in this good posture. Move your toes a little bit. Connect with your feet. Flex your calves and your thighs, your fingers of your hands, your arms, all your limbs. Connect with your torso. Feel the depth front to back. We're working with the spine and the chest. Feel your deep belly, that when it expands as the breath comes in, it expands in all directions, not just side to side. So feel that depth of your torso. Uplifted chest, shoulders, neck, and head, all connected. Now we have just enough tension to hold our posture. Let's let go of all the residual tension. So we'll explore that from the top of your head, your scalp, and your face. The face muscles around our eyes sometimes get tense and we don't realize it. Our jaw certainly gets clenched. Again, let it soften. It's as if your awareness of the tension naturally lets it melt. Like the sun coming up and melting snowflakes on a leaf. Let the tension run down and out of you and into the earth. It can absorb all that tension. Your neck and shoulders. Notice if you're holding your shoulders up artificially. Don't push them down, but just let them fall naturally. The tension to hold your breastbone up a little bit, but then relax everything around that, your rib cage and your upper back. Your lower back, your belly, your stomach, and then your deep belly. Again, we clench our deep belly and our pelvic region and don't really realize it. Just let it soften, let the tension melt without losing your posture. Let it flow down and out of you. Breathe out, the tension melts and flows down. Breathe out, let the tension flow down and out of your arms and hands. Breathe out, let the tension flow out of your thighs and calves. Now rest your awareness deep in the core of your torso. It's quiet down there. Feel it coming, expanding as the breath comes in, contracting as the breath goes out. It feels like your deep belly is filling because the diaphragm's pushing down to draw air into your lungs. And then as the diaphragm comes up to push the air out, it feels like your deep belly is emptying. Relax into the rhythm of filling and emptying in your deep belly, in your core. It's a rhythm like a quiet day on the shore as the surf gently comes up the sand and then is drawn back in and merges with the ocean. The breath draws in and fills you and then goes out and merges with the atmosphere. Now let your eyes open about halfway. Look down under your eyelids. Here we are in the present moment, the space that our body is sitting in. The posture we have, the feeling of our core filling and emptying as we breathe in and out. Just rest your mind in that rhythm and that internal feeling, that internal sensation of filling and emptying. Sounds may come and go. Bodily sensations, other bodily sensations may come and go. Thoughts may come and go. Just let them all come and go. However, if a thought grabs you and takes you into a series of thoughts, into a daydream, at some point you'll realize it. Go, oh, just smile, because the mind tends to wander that way. And reconnect with your posture. Reconnect with the space you're sitting in. And drop your awareness into that deep core and feel the filling and emptying. We'll do that for a few minutes.
As the gong fades, you can move a bit, refresh your posture. And when you're ready, retake your posture, but now let your eyes be fully open, looking straight ahead, but not particularly up. Just let them rest naturally, which will be an angle slightly below horizontal. And open up to the bigger space that your body is sitting in. The space of your perceptions in all directions. Soften your face muscles and open up your eyes to your peripheral vision, side to side, top to bottom. Without moving your eyes, your awareness can move all around that big field of vision, like seeing a landscape, just taking the whole thing in.
Open up your ears in all directions. Listen for sounds near and far. Open your mind to your own thoughts. Let them come and go, as if you're watching them from a distance. Let bodily sensations come and go. As I said before, if they preoccupy your mind, gently move with mindfulness to adjust. Notice all the colors, shapes, and shades of light and dark in your environment. Feel your body breathing. And as the breath goes out, it opens up. The breath dissolves into the air in the room, mixes with the air in the room. In the same way, as the breath goes out, use it to open up your mind. It's as if you're riding the breath out, opening to a bigger sense of spaciousness that's more about out there than in here. When I say in here, your body's included in out there, I mean in your mind, rather than how am I relating to my perceptions for me? What's going on just on its own terms? Breathe out, open up to sights, sounds, sensations, and thoughts. If smells and tastes appear, fine. You may notice your mind moving from one sense perception to another. And awareness of thoughts is also a sense perception. You're perceiving your thoughts. Let your mind move naturally, without manipulation. Just notice how it goes. And again, if one thought grabs your mind and takes it away into a daydream, at some point you'll realize it and go, I wandered off, now I'm back. Tune into the sense perceptions. They are always happening in the present moment. We'll do that for a few minutes. As the gong fades, you can refresh your posture. And when you're ready, again with eyes fully open, look out and imagine that your awareness extends out beyond the immediate space that you're in. Imagine that you're aware of everything out to the horizon. Imagine that you're aware of everything out to the sky in all directions, above and below. Everything's included in your awareness, which means all the beings on the earth. We're all under the same sky, different places, but the same sky. We're all functioning in the same atmosphere. We're all connected to the same ground, or the oceans, but all connected to this planet. We all have that in common. The other thing as living beings we have in common is whatever pain and suffering we're experiencing, we'd like to be free of that. Whatever brings us comfort, joy, feeling of safety, ease, contentment, we all would like to have as much of that as we can. So that's where we're all connected. And we all have the capacity as human beings to know and to feel. That's the nature of our minds. So we know all the things I just said in our mind, in our thoughts, but we also can feel it in our heart. If it's helpful, you can even put your hand in the center of your chest at heart level. And you can let your eyes close or leave them open, whichever you're more comfortable. But feel the feeling in your own heart. That in your heart, you would like to be free of suffering and what causes you suffering, mental and physical. You would like to have well-being, mental and physical. You know what that feels like. And imagine in front of you a loved one, a person or a pet, and you know what causes them suffering, and you can feel from your heart of compassion, your empathy, you feel with them how it must feel to suffer in body or mind. And you know you can feel with them what relief from that suffering feels like. And what a feeling of safety, health, contentment feels like. Well-being in body and mind. Imagine that as you breathe in, you could actually draw out from them and free them, relieve them of whatever suffering they're experiencing. And as you breathe out, you could radiate out from your heart health, contentment, well-being in body and mind. Breathe in and empty them of suffering. Breathe out and fill them with happiness. You feel relief when you've relieved them of suffering. You feel happy to be able to fill them with happiness. Feel that in your heart. And as best you can, extend that to others, everyone you've ever met, people you care about, people you like, people you don't have any particular feelings toward one way or the other, people you have difficulty with. Feel the difficulty between you and those people. And imagine as you breathe in, you're relieving yourself and them of that difficulty. And as you breathe out, you're breathing out acceptance and understanding to yourself and to them. And as best you can, extend this out to the whole world. Imagine that even just for the length of the time of a breath, you could breathe in and relieve all the suffering in the world, all the pain, physical and mental. And as you breathe out, even just for the time of a breath, a moment of happiness and joy. Breath of relief, a breath of happiness. And finally, we go deeper. Imagine that as you breathe in, you can draw out from yourself and all beings any negative emotions, greed, hatred, intolerance, envy, lust for power, anger, fear. As you breathe in, it's as if you're drawing poison out of a snake bite. Take it all away. Let it dissolve into space. And as you breathe out, replace it, radiate from your heart. Kindness, caring, love and understanding, acceptance, patience, generosity, all positive emotions, positive feelings, feelings of safety, freedom. All those negative emotions are the cause of so much suffering and pain. It all stops when those negative emotions turn into peace and love and understanding. Imagine that as you're breathing in, for just the length of the in-breath, there's a gap in all beings' poisonous emotions. And the biggest one of all, ignorance, misunderstanding, disinformation. Breathe in and free every being from that, just for the moment, just a gap. Breathe out and produce a moment for all beings of kindness and caring. And as the gong fades, let go of that imagination. Bring your awareness back with your eyes partly open to your body, your posture, the space your body's sitting in, and the feeling of the breath coming in and out. And now to conclude our session, it's helpful to carry this through in our everyday life so we can have an aspiration. So you can repeat after me or put it in your own words. May I and all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May I and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. And finally, may whatever benefit comes from the practice we did today, and you can say this, whatever benefit comes from the practice I did today, may it be of more benefit to others even than to myself. And that's real generosity. So thank you for your kind attention and your practice today. And that concludes this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice.